accommodation, live independently and connect with their communities, we empower them to live their best life. We go above and beyond, which encourages the people we support to do the same. Search Lutheran Disability Services to become part of our family today.
The federal government wants to introduce a new law called Same Job, Same Pay. It doesn't mean equal pay for men and women. It means by law, employers will have to pay workers with little knowledge or experience exactly the same as workers with a lot of knowledge and experience. Let's find a better way, because Same Job, Same Pay takes your reward for your experience away. Go to findabetterway.com.au. Authorised by T. Constable, Minerals Council of Australia, Canberra.
Is there a God? What is the meaning of life? Do I actually need unlimited data to watch a few cat videos on my commute? Cute.
Question everything, especially your telco plan. Get the data you need at low prices with Aldi Mobile.
Four-wheel driving? If you want to get there, you want to be TJM equipped. TJM, Nailsworth in Clovelly Park.
This is the FIVEAA Fishing Show, presented by Ned McHenry.
29 minutes to 7 on your Tuesday evening. It is time to talk fishing, and it is all thanks to TJM. Nailsworth in Clovelly Park. If you're four-wheel driving and you want to get there, you want to be TJM equipped. Sam Tugwell alongside the great man, the one who runs the show here, Ned McHenry. Welcome to you.
Two great men this week, Sammy. We've got a guest on the show. It feels a bit wrong to introduce you to your own office, and as I sit in your chair, how do you feel over there, our guest, Stephen Rowe?
Well, Nettie, we did, 12, 13 weeks together. We kicked the show off with FIVEAA, so thank you to FIVEAA. But what have I built? What have I grown? What have you grown into? You're on 7. You're bigger than Ben Hur now in the fishing world in Adelaide.
Completely not true.
Great.
I do feel a little bit not well sitting in your chair. I don't think that's quite right. I did have to boost it up a little bit. God, you sit low in it, don't you?
Yeah, I'm a low rider.
And you've got your little computer and stuff here. I feel quite good in your spot.
Now, give us an update when you get in that North Bank, because I feel like you're naked at the moment.
Can you tell them to hurry up? I mean, how many times do I have to text you asking to borrow your boat? I think it's still a couple.
You can have the nearest any time you want.
I don't want the nearest. I want to be safe out there. That's the only problem. I don't want it flipping on me. How is your nearest?
How dare you?
I knew you'd be upset with that.
It is the most practical, best King George whiting fishing boat in the Gulf that you can ever get.
They're a good hull, the nearest, aren't they? They're not quite as stylish as the North Bank, though, are they?
Well, I'm not about style. I'm about practicality. I'm about results, and I didn't get them on the weekend.
Well, is it getting wet? I was going to ask you. You went out fishing on the weekend. How did you go?
Yeah, went out with the team. There was a charity that I donated a fishing charter for free, and we went out to Port Hughes.
Yes.
We stayed the night till 3 in the morning. Got up at 6.
What were you doing at 3 in the morning?
Drinking Rusty Wines with Christian Canute. I got
perfect
canuted.
Prep.
Got absolutely canuted.
Perfect prep.
Fished. Perfect prep. Look, you know when you get to a boat ramp in the country, there's not a lot of locals there. That they know.
Not a good sign.
So a lot of them fish in the afternoon because it was a long tide. They get there and at dawn the fish come on, but we didn't get to that because it was a howling northerly. And you don't catch fish out at Port Hughes on a northerly. So we're at the other side of, cut a long story short, the lighthouse, dropped at a mark that we've named Black Guts, got 10 whiting in about an hour and a half. And called it a day. It was just too hard to work.
Bit slow.
It was very slow.
I was talking about the whiting on last week's show, wasn't I, Sammy? I was upset, and then who called in? Someone called in, gave me a rinse. He said, "Yeah, they're still there. They're still there." I said, "The whiting fishery, I'm a little bit concerned about off Metro because
really?
I know they won't be firing yet, right? They're a winter species. That's when they'll do their best. But last year I was catching whiting locally really consistently. This year's been really tough.
Okay. I tend to find you need corkweed, and we don't have corkweed off here because we have a lot of runoff of stormwater, and it's killed all the weed. Get out to the blue line. It's just not a good enough fishery on this side of the Gulf. I'm sorry. Well, and I don't know who has to look after it or who we blame or point fingers to, but please tell me you're not worried about the King George whiting fishery, because if the government hear about that on the back of your pressure, they might close that for 10 years.
It's not my pressure. I did some research, right? I did some research. Now look at this. This is why we got him on. This is our guest because he makes things happen, our Stephen Rowe. I love Stephen Rowe. Anyway, okay, snapper. From 2015...
My name's Rowie. I'm your friend. You don't have to call me Stephen Rowe.
I do love you, Stephen. Okay, 2015 to 2019.
Yeah, please.
Snapper stocks. Commercially, they decreased every single year from 2015 to 2019.
So they cut their quotas?
No. So I think the quotas came down, but I think overall the capture decreased, right? So I saw a trend on a graph. This is a government website.
Okay.
What do you think happened with whiting 2015 to 2019?
Went up.
Nah, did the exact same thing
Same
as snapper.
thing, did it? All right.
The exact same thing as snapper. So the trend is the exact same. I understand the species are different, right? Whiting are going to be a lot quicker growing, although they're not super quick growing. They're quicker growing than the snapper. Yeah. But here's a big call for you. I reckon in the next 10 to 15 years, we'll have a ban from catching whiting.
Okay.
It's statewide.
So what will
that's what I think will happen at some stage.
So you're predicting that?
That's a huge call, and I don't want it to happen. I don't even think it's reasonable. But the trend is telling me that the whiting fishing is getting poorer and poorer, or less consistent. So tell me what the answer is. What's going to happen in 10 years?
Well, okay. Before all of that, you got to cut back the pro fishermen catching it. Before all of that, they'll cut down our rec fishers' bag size. 10 per person, or 20, or 30 if you've got more than 3 people on your boat, or they might lift the size.
Well, that happened in 2016. They did sizes
but
and
I think
bag
all
limits.
of that will happen before they ban the species, surely. Surely there's triggers before we get to that point.
Well, what management happened in the time that before the snapper ban occurred? What management happened?
Well, they cut down how many you could catch.
They did, yep. They did the same thing with snapper and
so
whiting in 2016.
Off memory, we could get, I think it was 8 over 30-something centimetres, and then 2 over 60.
Snapper you're talking about, obviously, yeah.
But they cut that back. We used to be able to get 8 over 60. Then it went 2 per boat.
This is why I've got you
I stand corrected. If somebody can...
call in.
8223000.
Well, the same thing happened in 2016 from memory in South Australia. The whiting bag limits came down and the size went from, what was it? Was it 30 to 32, I reckon?
Yep, now it's 31 in some regions.
Yes. So this is why I got you on. I want a pulse check. Where are we at? Where's our fishery at? Where is our infrastructure at? As rec anglers, how are we placed?
Okay.
Are we bullish? Are we happy? Are we up and about? The southern bluefin tuna are going really well.
Well, I had a mate that rang me today, said they're still catching little tuna about 15 to 20 kilo off of Cape Willoughby.
They are. I reckon...
That's unusual for this time of year, isn't it?
Oh, mate, this season just hasn't finished. They're still catching them consistently, as we've spoken about in our hotspot, Sammy, haven't we, off the fluoro?
Yeah.
Still school tuna there.
Yeah.
The school tuna fishery there is excellent. God, there's some school tuna out off the fluoro and south of KI and in those areas, Marion Bay. But it's getting smaller, in my opinion, the school tuna. So whether that's migration or whether the pros, their average size of fish that they're taking has gone down, I believe that to be true. Is that having an impact?
Well, it might do, but let's get back to King George whiting. Let's get back to rec fish shows. Who looks after that now, and decisions that are made? I'm a rec fish show. These are the 3 things that I want. I want to have a sustainable stock, whether it's King George whiting, whether it's snapper, whether it's tuna. So I want to know that the science behind SARDI and the government are looking after that stock.
Yes, which it is deemed sustainable right now.
Okay.
It is deemed sustainable.
So that ducktails into what pro fishermen can catch,
Yep.
line fishermen and all of that, okay?
Yep.
And I want to be able to know that I've got a grandchild now, that I can go out and I can get the fish that I want. I want blue swimmer crab, not in this order. I want snapper, tuna, King George whiting, and, you put your garfish down there.
All in one day?
No.
You're Rex Hunter, are you? You're just going to go and do that?
No,
you just go and grab them?
No, I know. So I've got a grandchild, and my dream is to take the little man out my boat and I can catch fish.
Amen, yep.
The other thing I want with that is good boat ramps, and I want the regions looked after.
How's our infrastructure going?
Well, I think it's CRAP. Can I say that on your show?
What's that spell, Sammy?
I don't need to say it.
Not good
it's
with
crap.
Not good with my spelling.
Now, the biggest debate that's coming on is, do we need a rec fishing licence? And I say yes, if it goes into infrastructure and sustainable fish, the 5 that I've said.
Does rec fishing, what do we say? It's a $2 billion industry, didn't we? So is rec fishing big enough itself, right, that the taxation required, the funding required is already there and a rec licence would just be the icing on the cake? Do we really need a rec licence for this to happen? The industry is huge. Rec fishing is huge.
Well, I'm led to believe there's 270,000 of us that fish regularly. You cut that in half, we've all got boats. What I do know is I pay taxes, I pay petrol.
Of course you do.
I mean, we went to Port Hughes, we went and got a coffee, we went and got some cockles, we do all of that.
Anything from the bakery?
We about 10 pies, about 3 pasties, got them down my tonsils on the way back. But we do. We do look after the regions. And the tighter it gets with the government, the less we're going to get back out there. And I know there's a lot of people from... I was at Port Clinton, all the way down to even Edithburgh now, where you can't catch snapper. That has killed that coastline. Black Point, Ardrossan, Tiddy-Widdy.
Changed that fishery, hasn't it?
It has. Because we would go and chase that fish, spend, I don't know, well, on the weekend I would have spent 150 on petrol for the car.
Yep.
200 in the boat.
Yep.
I would have bought 4 kilo of
It's a
cockles.
huge exercise.
I would have bought a couple of Cokes, a couple of... It
It's a
is.
huge exercise. Wreck fishing is huge. But my gut feel is that the majority of people here in SA are against a fishing licence. Is that what you feel? Is that your gut feel?
That's my gut feel.
I think that is...
Why do we need another licence? Well, if I was confident that every cent that was generated from a wreck fishing licence went towards boat ramps or
That's
the
the thing.
regions and the sustainability with SARDI and the science, well, then I'd pay $100 a year for it.
Don, are you confident that spending from a wreck licence would be placed well?
Only not for jetty fishermen. Boat fishermen, yeah. Jetty fishermen, you're much more restricted. But what I'm ringing up, I rang you last week about the whiting. I went to Wallaroo Wednesday.
Oh, well done. How'd you go?
Oh, it was plenty. I never even threw a line in and I got 11.
Oh, what, they just jumped in the boat without a line, did they, Don?
No, if you listen, my mate lives up there. Like, I lived there for a little while because I worked up there, but Bruce will be in the shed listening to this, and a couple of other lads from Rosewater and Seaton.
G'day, Bruce.
They heard me last week. No, Roey's right about the corkweed. There's no corkweed out in this Gulf. You go over the other Gulf, Wallaroo,
Everywhere.
Moota, all through Bird Island, all the way out to Riley. There's corkweed everywhere. And if you know the right spots, like my mate, he goes out in an aluminium dinghy, launches it off the beach, and he bags out in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But what do you say,
Bang, he's
what do you
that
say,
to be
Don?
true.
You got 11 off Wallaroo.
Yeah, well, my mate gave them to me. I went to Wallaroo.
Oh, beg your
and he
pardon,
gave them
Don.
to me.
He's
No,
going to.
right, but he heard me on the radio, and he every time he launches his boat off the beach, North Beach, or wherever he launches the aluminium dinghy, he just goes straight out there, bang, gets his 10 back in.
Yeah,
And he-
Don, I can vouch for that because I rang one of the pros that were out there because I said, should I fish Wallaroo or should I go to Port Hughes? My mates want to go to Port Hughes. There's a marks the other side of the lighthouse. He said, Rowie, don't waste your time. Put in at Wallaroo, head left out of the boat ramp,
Yep.
head towards Bird Island. You'll see the corkweed and just move around and you'll get your quota. And Don, everyone that I knew that went out to Bird Island to the corkweed got their quota.
Did well.
And I got 10. Thanks, Donnie.
Tony, any thoughts on whiting or the snapper bear, my friend?
Oh, well, I was going to say about the fishing licence. When I was in Canberra and we went down to the New South Wales South Coast, we always used to have a fishing licence down there. So as long as it's put into, into the right areas and instead of just being a tax grab for the government or, it would be a good idea. I was going to say the snapper. Is there a snapper ban? I heard on the show a couple of weeks ago about a snapper ban.
We're in it now, Tony. We've another year and a half to go.
Oh, really? Oh.
And we've already had 2 years without catching
Have you
snapper.
been under a rock, Tony?
Oh,
Tony.
look,
Come on,
I'm
Tony.
having real trouble with, using lures with beach fishing, and I'm just going to go back to bait. Priming.
Oh, persist though, Tony. I'm the same as you sometimes. It gets frustrating, but those fish you do catch on lures, God, they're more rewarding though, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think lures are best suited for boat fishing. When you go out in the tinny, I think they work better there. But I have terrible luck when I go down to Port Elliot and do some beach fishing down there.
What are you going for there, salmon?
Yeah, salmon mainly.
The salmon runs on now, isn't it?
Absolutely. They're pushing up high into the Onkaparinka River at
There
the
you
moment
go.
with high
Wow.
tide. It's amazing. You're throwing small metals, Tony, something a bit heavier with the wind behind you. Get out to those schools.
Yeah, try and put a nice diamond, sinker on there that goes out nice and far. But I don't know. What do you think about lures, boys?
Nettie loves them.
Have you had more success with lures than you have with baits?
I'm not a lure man, Tony. I don't even like down jigging for a bloody salmon fish with a lure. I like to put a live bait on or put bait on. I'm a bait man.
He's a classic man.
Burley up, live bait.
There's
good
nothing
bait.
more rewarding than a fish. Hey, before Tony goes, Tony, what would you pay for a recreational fishing license? You mentioned you're a beach fisher or a jetty fisher. It's not quite as practical. If you're in your boat, what would you pay for a year?
No, I'm beach fisher mainly. Look, for a year I'd pay $50-$60, no problem.
There you go. I don't get where beach fish show and jetty fish shows think they don't have to pay for a licence for a wreck fish show, and why a boat licence. We pay rego for our boat.
Yeah.
Don't we?
No, it's a good point.
Insurance for it. We pay all
it's
these
a common
things.
thing you
we
hear.
pay tax for petrol for your boat.
Of course you do. It's expensive. God, it's expensive to store a boat, isn't it? To have a boat. Now, Tony made a couple of good points, though. What about talking about lures? There's nothing more rewarding than getting a fish on lure. You need to get a little bit more excited about your lure fishing, please.
Nah, lure's not for me.
Come on.
I'm old school, mate. Give me a size 5 hook and a live fish in it, and straight out it goes.
On
Bang.
your big floating Nereus tub.
Am I done? Is our work here done? Have we got a wreck fish show licence?
I don't want you to be done. This is a bit. I'm reminiscing a bit about our first couple of episodes. This is fun, isn't it?
It is.
Do you enjoy being back on the fishing show?
Since you clipped me from the show, you've gone north.
Clip? There was no clipping going on. You had the fishing show. You were the fishing show man.
You did? You lured me in. You got it in the side of my gob. You kept me hanging in the water for 12 weeks, and then as soon as you pulled me up, you gaffed me and clipped me.
It's just not true at all.
You threw me in the back of that north bank, and I'm floundering around, and now you're on your own.
No, Stephen, you've got my whole heart. Okay, we've done a poll check. We've had a great chat. Grade the South Australian fishery at the moment. If D is a big and an A is a A+, you're happy with the assignment. Where are we at?
Oh, well, it's a pass.
It's a pass.
And a soft pass. I need to be convinced.
We do have a snapper ban currently in place. We're not legally allowed to chase our most iconic species, and it's still a pass.
Mate, they're everywhere too. Just quietly, I need to get and have more faith in our government, whether it's Liberal or Labor. Let's not get political on it. Who they listen to, which is SARDI, which is the science. And that needs to marry up with what wreck fishers think and what commercial fishers think. And I think there's 3 different people. We think differently, the commercial to the SARDI, and we've got to trust the government, trust the science, and trust they make the right calls. And I sit here right now as a wreck fisher, and I don't.
Well, I want them to give us the trust.
What do you mean?
Well, I want the trust from them. I want to believe everything they say. I want to see what they're doing. I want it to be presented to me, but I just don't feel like that's the case at the moment.
No,
and that's what you're basically saying.
Pretty much. We're on the same page. You just worded it a bit differently. Because you use lures and I use fresh bait.
You bait fisho, you stinky hands.
You big fisho head. You know I call you Squid Jag now in the
Yes,
games.
I know. I've heard in the calls. I like it.
That's grown naturally over the last couple of weeks.
It's actually quite good.
Here comes the Squid Jag.
Running around like a lunatic. It's a bit like a
well done, Nettie. Our work is done.
Hey, thank you for coming on. Thank you so much for coming on as our
Thanks,
guest.
Nettie. Love you.
Roey's just called time on himself very nicely. Thank you to have you. Roey, it's time for us to get to a break. 13 to 7. We'll get your hotspot shortly.
What makes an iconic South Australian business? It's a special combination showcased in FIVEAA's Best of SA.
Ray White is a big name in real estate, but it's also the biggest name in business brokering too. Business SA trusts Ray White Business Sales for their experience and expertise in business brokering, so you can trust Brett Buckley and the team at Ray White.
The Best of SA, thanks to major sponsor Maxima and Adelaide's FIVEAA.
A break in Mount Gambier will certainly make you happier if you're passing by. A break in Mount Gambier or fresh air in Clare will certainly make you happier if you're passing by. A break in Mount Gambier, fresh air in Clare, or the loo in Pinaroo will certainly make you happier if you're passing by. A break in Mount Gambier, fresh air in Clare, the loo in Pinaroo, or the ferry in Berry will certainly make you happier if you're passing by. A break in Mount Gambier, fresh air in Clare, the loo in Pinaroo, the ferry in Berry, or granola in Penola will certainly make you happier if you're passing by. A break in Mount Gambier, fresh air in Clare, the loo in Pinaroo, the ferry in Berry, granola in Penola, or a Lamington and Wellington will certainly make you happier if you're passing by.
When you're on the road, take a break every 2 hours, because one day a sticky beak in Cobbler Creek could save your life.
If you're passing by.
A message from the Government of South Australia.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles has just landed from Spain a magnificent range of super large atmosphere floor tiles. Our introductory price on these magnificent $80 floor tiles is an unbelievable $59.95. That's right, save over $20 per metre on these magnificent 1200 by 600 Spanish floor tiles. But you'll have to be quick to save over $20 per metre on this exclusive introductory offer. So rush into National Tiles now and save.
Did you know home care packages are available to residents aged 65 plus in Adelaide? Genu are experts with over 30 years experience, partnering with local providers, helping you get the best value from your home care package and enabling you to maintain independence in your own home. To find out more about Genu's home care packages today or how to transfer your existing package, call 1300 558 368 or visit genu.org.au. Genu, supporting you your way.
At Arana, we believe everyone should live the life of their choice. We create opportunities for people with disability to live as independently as possible. We support people with an NDIS plan who are looking for their forever home. Arana homes are safe, welcoming and above all supportive, where people make friends and get more out of life. Arana has vacancies in the Adelaide, Riverland and Spencer Gulf areas. For independent living, make your home with Arana. Visit aranaonline.com.au. Arana, creating opportunities.
The Kia EV6 GT. A sleek, pure electric supercar. Enjoy your flight. The Kia EV6 GT.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Four-wheel driving? If you want to get there, you want to be TJM equipped. TJM, Nailsworth in Clovelly Park.
This is the 5AA Fishing Show, presented by Ned McHenry.
It's 9 minutes to 7. We'll get your hotspots very shortly. But Neddy, some good chat there with Rowie in regards to some of the fishing licences and things that might be tossed up.
It's that chat, isn't it, around fish shows in South Australia? How are we going? I called it a bit of a pulse check, and I think it was that. Where are we at? We're doing a lot of things well. I've loved seeing some of the boat ramp upgrades. So Rowie was hard on the boat ramps, but hang on. West Beach, January 2022, that was upgraded. Yep. There was a bit of surfacing upgrade and a few bits and pieces. O'Sullivan's Beach is being done at the moment, and Victor Harbour, the Dunnies got done at Victor Harbour.
Well done.
So that was always a big knock. There was Portaloos at Victor Harbour, so that's a lot better.
That needs to be done. All right, let's get your hotspots, all thanks to Tackle World Adelaide Metro. Best price, range, service guaranteed. 612 Port Road, Allenby Gardens, or go to tackleworldadelaide.com.au.
Neddy's Fishing Hotspots.
Love the boys at Adelaide Tackle World Metro. I went in there. They actually have some good stuff at the moment. I've got some new jigs. Anyway, that's beside the point. Locally, yeah, thanks for that, Ned. Thank you for your 2 cents. Good mullet in the shallows at Christie's Beach and Port Noarlunga Jetty. So that jetty's just reopened and some good mullet in the shallows there, Sammy. Salmon, so good and bloody thick at the moment. My goodness me. I mentioned before to Rowie, they're pushing up towards the Onkaparinga River on high tide.
Jeez.
So they're really getting up quite high. All of those southern beaches you'll see salmon. Be visual. I mentioned on the Flurio, school tuna around, so I think Rowie said something like 20 kilo. I haven't heard about fish that big, more so the smaller fish, 8 to 12 kilo. Southern side of KI as well as in close to Victor at times, especially around dusk. We know around Victor, in the later afternoon, they'll definitely come in a little bit closer to the bluff there. So have your wits about you in the Arvo. Inside of West Island for snook, troll through there, and outside on those reefy grounds, there actually are some bigger whiting getting around too off the Flurio there. York's better tides last week meant some dirty water and some good flow. So the whiting captures were far more consistent than the week before. Heard really good reports from Port Victoria, the whiting and some snookers bycatch too there, really good. Port Julia and Port Vincent both had good whiting captures, Sammy. And Wool Bay Jetty, I reckon that could be the most famous squid catching jetty in South Australia.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
That might be a big call, but
That's your
Wool
call.
Bay Jetty, sunrise squid, morning squid, heard some really good captures there. So squid fishing off Wool Bay Jetty is excellent.
Love it.
Heading west, spoke to GT Fishing Charters. Dan is the man there. Did really, really well. So 2 drops, he smashed the whiting. He did say they've had huge swell out there though, out west. So 3 to 4 metre swell has meant the offshore fishing is really hard and the beach fishing is really hard. So we just spoke about the whiting. But again, good stuff with the whiting. Down at the southeast, let's talk about these barrels that I love. I'd marry a barrel if I could. The school fish and the barrels on the full moon got a little bit slow, but Wanta Fish got a really good barrel last week. I think it was like 70 kilo. That's the really good charter operator. That's
huge.
Charter operator down there, and there's plenty of other barrels being caught. So barrels still going well, school fish around, but just watch that full moon. They'll shut down a little bit on that. Freshwater, Happy Valley has redfin and some silver perch too.
Okay.
Interesting. We hear a lot about the golden perch, but silver perch in there too. I think it gets stocked in a lot of the resis. Side note, you can't catch your bait if you go to the resis. So you've got to bring your bait on site.
Oh,
so just
okay.
a little something. Some people will try and scavenge for a little bit of bait and natural bait and stuff. You actually can't do that legally, so you can get in a bit of strife, I reckon.
Okay, that's a good tip.
Callop from Manham upwards as well, Sammy, so fresh water.
Very, very good to hear. Speaking of tips, let's hear of your tip of the week.
Nettie's fishing tip of the week.
Just got a text on the text line. It's actually got me thinking too. Harry said, I saw the snapper fingerlings, about 100,000 of them got released. Why don't we do that with King George whiting? Says Harry on the text line.
Oh, okay, Harry.
It's a good question.
What do you know?
Can we restock King George whiting? I haven't heard of it much. I wonder if it's a thing. Is it not a thing?
No.
They're a totally different species. I don't know. I'd love to hear anyone's thoughts on that maybe next week.
Definitely.
Ned's tip.
Yep.
All right, let's get into it. Turn your music off, you clowns, on your boat. Okay.
You've gone hard. So what's
Come
what's wrong with
on.
music?
Okay, last week, as I said, I did some squid fishing out off kind of Warina, Cape Jervis area. We did really well on the squid, so really consistent. As I said, they'll fish right through winter.
Yep.
A little bit deeper, I find, in winter goes well. Some I try to get in a little bit shallower. Anyway, that's a side note. Turn your music off. Fish and squid, they can hear. Right? They might be really silly. They might eat lunch that's got a big hook coming out of it.
Yeah.
But they can still hear. There's research in Japan that tells us they can hear low frequencies, which means your radio and your Yui boom, when it's blaring at 70 or 80 out of 100 volume, the fish can hear it.
So that you're saying they'll be scared off by the music?
I'm saying it doesn't help. If you've come back into the boat ramp and gone, the fishing was a bit slow, we've got Ariana Grande on 80 out of 100. Maybe that's why.
You don't think they're fans of Ariana?
Oh, my goodness me. There was a Quintrex near us, and they had the music on so loudly. I felt like saying, do you want to be a fish deterrent, do you? You're a walking nightclub. You're Hindley Street off Cape Jervis. You'll catch bugger all. It's okay to have a bit of music on.
Yep.
Have the 5AA fishing show on, or have the 5AA sports show on if you like. That's fine.
Just turn it down.
Just a reasonable volume, please, Sammy. Ned's tip, just think about your music volume, because the fish actually can hear it and the vibrations.
So what do you listen to on the boat then? Nothing?
Just a bit of quiet tune, Sammy.
All
It's a
right.
bit of my peace and quiet.
You're a bit of an acoustic, like what sort of music are we getting at?
I'd have
What's
a
on
bit
your
of-
playlist?
A bit of Angus and Julia Stone.
That's good.
I'm into the country music too. I like Luke Combs, Morgan
Nice.
Wallen, Brad Cox is really good.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. You know me, I'm pretty go. So when I
Yeah.
go out in the boat, I like to just chill out and
Relax.
do that. What's your chill out time?
I'm sort of I can go a little bit of acoustic. I like the rock side of things. If I can get a bit of rock pop
Bit of
sort of
rock.
music in, right? I'm more of a Powderfinger, U2, Coldplay sort of that sort of era,
Yes.
Kings of Leon type.
Stop it. Nice.
Yeah, but then when they sort of strip it back in acoustic style, that's
Hello.
good Sunday session.
Now
sort of
they've really
stuff.
got you.
Now I'm captured.
Long weekend stuff. Oh,
That's
good work,
That's
Sammy.
what I'd listen to on the boat. Anyway, it's time for us to go. John Blake's awaiting in the wings, and the news with Mel Usher. But good to see you, mate.
Great to see you.
Enjoy your week off from footy as well, and we'll be back here next Tuesday from 6:30.
If you thought it was tricky to source a great end of financial year deal on a new Volkswagen, think again. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen has loaded up on